we saw some negativity coming through for the NSE 20 on Friday. Today, once again, it's all about earnings. We had Standard Chartered out with results today. What is your sense on the numbers? Of course, a lot of people expecting the banking sector to remain in that double-digit growth scenario.
Good morning, Eleni. Well, we've just seen Standard post 14% profit before tax, which is a good improvement, really, considering last year they had about 6.7, this year they have about 7.7 billion. And also looking at the number of operations they have been engaged in, we can say that is a substantial gain. And also we had them have the takeover of Barclays custody services. This ate into their books. And I think we are yet to see the long-standing economic value from these acquisitions. But I think those results were really good. The dividend payout policy was also good, about that 30%, giving 8 shillings and 50 cents, while the share price is about 275. And moving on, I think with the corporate actions underway, we should see more activity in the short term.
From the sense that I'm getting from you, talking about those new assets, do you think that we could still see those returns feeding through going forward? So in other words, we could price in better results from Standard Chartered going forward?
Yes, I think there's still a lot of room for growth there. When we come to looking at their business, looking at the areas of focus, they've managed to grow their consumer or retail banking by 47%. They have grown their corporate banking by about 15%. And there's still a lot of regional potential. And there's also the rights issue they had. They raised some funds for that, for the custody takeover. So I think looking in the next coming months, maybe 2 to 3 months, we'll see a lot of return on investment on these plans they've been having in the short.
Robert, what about customer deposits? That rising 15.5%. Do you think this kind of double-digit growth can be sustained?
Yes, it can. And I think that will be sustained by the ever demand for credit. The demand for credit in the country is still growing in spite of inflation and in spite of other mitigating factors. We still have a lot of businesses, informal sector is growing, and we also have a lot of the individuals also looking to gain financial services through these banks. So I think there's still a lot of room for growth.
Robert, I mean, we saw an interest rate cut so far in Kenya this year. We've got inflation ticking very close to around 7% or so. Any concerns that we could see an interest rate hike coming through? And that, of course, is going to hamper the access to credit that consumers have been waiting for so long.
Yes, and in fact, many industry players have highlighted this, the concerns, the inflation being one of them. We've had the high fuel costs, which is directly related to inflation. We've also had the risen cost of living because of that. We've also had high commodity prices, which have affected the prices of basic commodities, food commodities. And I think all these things hamper the purchasing power of any citizen. And this will also affect the appetite for credit, because few people will have access to these loans. As for the interest rates, I think we've seen also the Central Bank of Kenya have very favorable rates for the debt market, and I think this will kind of check and balance the high rates we are having the banks giving for their loans.
We've still got Cooperative Bank that is set to release results quite soon. We saw the stock down around 0.5%. Prospects for this bank, how much do you think has been priced in at this point?
Well, I think it's still early to tell. I think we would know much later as we move on. And I think there's still a number of factors which have to be considered when looking at the pricing of a stock.
Let's touch on Safaricom. A gain of 2.6% on Friday, sitting at 3 shillings 90. We hear some news coming to the fore when it comes to the case against its rivals. Tell us what the update is, and how do you think its share price is going to be performing going forward in this week?
Safaricom has eased below the 4 shilling mark actually earlier than I expected it to. I expected it to hit the 3 shilling mark sometime after their results are out, but we've seen it come early, and I think this is mainly because of the drop in revenues, especially from voice, which is about 80% of their revenue generator. And also looking at the mobile money transfer, we have them facing a lot of competition. All the other industry players seem to have a hand in it. Recently, we had them appeal to the regulator to have a common platform for the mobile transfer. I think Safaricom has gotten away with it this time round, but I think Safaricom can still drop further. I see it shedding more cents, maybe by in the next 1 month, it should be about 3 shillings and 50 cents or so.